I was hauling hay bales with my gloves off when I heard the scream, sharp, piercing, cutting through the hot Texas air like a bullet. I dropped the pitchfork, boots hitting the dirt hard as I bolted across the ranch, heart pounding like a war drum. The scream was coming from the barn. The old barn. The barn I had locked. The barn with the basement. The barn where Hank lives. Now before you jump to conclusions, let me explain. Hank is not a person. Hank is a grizzly bear. A real, breathing, full-grown grizzly I rescued after a flood years ago swept him away from a nearby wildlife preserve. He was just a cub then injured, starving, left behind. I nursed him back, worked with licensed wildlife vets, and followed every protocol. He's not a pet. He's a permanent rescue. The one rule everyone knew, don't go near the barn unless I'm with you. Karen Monroe just broke that rule. She was halfway down the basement stairs when I got there. Her puffed-up blonde bob bouncing as she screamed. Phone out. High heels sunk into barn dirt like she was on a catwalk from hell. Hank was at the bottom of the stairs, a massive shadow rising up on his hind legs, letting out a low, earth-rattling growl. Karen froze. Her phone slipped, tumbling down and landing inches from Hank's paws. Is that a real bear? She screamed, legs shaking. And then the cellar door slammed shut behind her. Let me back up. My name is Noah Jacobs. I'm 41, a retired forest ranger and now a quiet living rancher on 16 acres of family land in rural Texas. I live off the grid, raise animals, grow my food, and run solar. Peace is my currency. Then the HOA came. Not on my land, I am not part of it, but from the new development next door, Sunset Valley Estates. They brought their rules with them, lawn standards, trash schedules, dress codes, mailbox colors. And Karen Monroe? She made herself the president. She showed up a day after I posted a no trespassing sign and told me to take it down. I told her, politely, this was private land. She replied, "We'll see about that." Then came the letters. Then the calls to animal control. Then the surveillance. I ignored it. I had a bear to take care of. But today she went too far. I ran, yelling, "Don't move. Stay still." She was frozen halfway down, Hank towering beneath her. She shrieked, "Open this door," and stomped, which made Hank growl louder. "Back away slowly," I ordered, fumbling with the outer lock. She screeched something about calling the authorities. "You're lucky he didn't eat your phone," I muttered, finally cracking the latch. I opened the door, moved carefully down, and soothed Hank. He backed off. Karen shot past me like a spooked deer. "This isn't over," she yelled, pointing in my face. "I'm pressing charges. On my land? Where you broken?" She drove off caked in mud. I scratched Hank's head. Good boy. Next morning, flashing lights. Sheriff. Animal control. Karen standing arms crossed behind them. "Open the gate," the sheriff said. "On what grounds?" Karen jumped in, accusing me of harboring a wild animal and endangering her life. I went inside and came back with every legal document, permits, vet records, state and federal wildlife approvals. The animal control officer reviewed it all. "This is more than legal. It's immaculate." Karen tried another angle. "He locked me in with it." "How do you get in?" the sheriff asked. "I was investigating." "So you trespassed?" "Broke a lock." The city rep chimed in. "This property isn't under your HOA jurisdiction." Karen turned red. I figured that was the end. It wasn't. Next day, cease and desist letter. Karen claimed I was creating a hazard. That's when I knew it was war. A week passed. Quiet. Too quiet. Then I saw it, fresh SUV tracks near the barn. Footprints. The latch was open. Hank was gone. I heard a whimper. Downstairs, I found him. Sedated. In a steel cage. Next to him, a man in an HOA polo holding a control pole. He stammered something about a scheduled wildlife removal. Then boom. An explosion rocked the barn. Fire. The upper level ablaze. We were trapped. I remembered the old storm drain tunnel. We hauled the cage across the floor, pushed it through the tunnel, dragged it into daylight just as the flames claimed the roof. Karen stood at the tree line, watching, holding a remote, smirking. She turned and left. Fire crew saved what they could. Hank, unconscious, was safe in the garage. I called my lawyer, moved Hank to a wildlife center hours away, then began gathering evidence. Burned lock. Fire accelerant. Footprints. Camera footage. I sent it to the sheriff, the media, and my attorney. Within days, the scandal broke. HOA arson cover-up. Karen issued a fake apology. The sheriff called me personally. She paid the guy under the table. It was all off record. We're opening a criminal case. Then someone filed a motion to annex my land into the HOA. I showed up to the city council meeting with files, news clips, bear rescue records, and a burned lock. I showed the threat note taped to my windshield. Karen screamed at me. "You're a washed-up hick with a freaking bear." Council voted unanimously to block annexation. Investigations opened. Then came another message. Phase 2 begins now. Photos of me. Ellie. Hank. Taken from inside my garage. Surveillance cameras in my trees. Ellie arrived the next day. Former army handler. Rancher. She owed me a favor. She brought tech. We set traps. Caught 2 HOA members trying to plant more surveillance. Confiscated their equipment. Military-grade gear. Traced back to Karen's ex-husband, Michael, a developer known for flipping land. Ellie and I laid bait. Fake footage showing Hank back in the barn. Karen returned. Alone. Tried prying up floorboards. We caught her. "You think this ends with me?" "Michael owns the county," she hissed. "Then we'll let the whole country watch him try." The story went viral. Karen was arrested. Michael investigated. But one final envelope appeared. A photo of another ranch. Another barn. Same setup. On the back, "You're not the only one." Ellie locked the gate. "Where are we going?" I asked. "Wherever they think they can't be caught. Because sometimes one man, one bear, and a stubborn heart is all it takes to bring down a mountain." And we're still standing. Always ready. I was hauling hay bales with my gloves off when I heard the scream, sharp, piercing, cutting through the hot Texas air like a bullet. I dropped the pitchfork, boots hitting the dirt hard as I bolted across the ranch, heart pounding like a war drum. The scream was coming from the barn. The old barn. The barn I had locked. The barn with the basement. The barn where Hank lives. Now before you jump to conclusions, let me explain. Hank is not a person. Hank is a grizzly bear. A real, breathing, full-grown grizzly I rescued after a flood years ago swept him away from a nearby wildlife preserve. He was just a cub, then injured, starving, left behind. I nursed him back, worked with licensed wildlife vets, and followed every protocol. He's not a pet. He's a permanent rescue. The one rule everyone knew: don't go near the barn unless I'm with you. Karen Monroe just broke that rule. She was halfway down the basement stairs when I got there. Her puffed-up blonde bob